Welcome back to the channel. This week's video is an action-packed, super fun, epic mountain bike thrill ride. A true adventure about riding some amazing new trails and exploring the steeper end of mountain biking. So strap in.
That's good.
This adventure starts at the top of a rather unassuming hill. But of course, this isn't just any hill. This is Stile Cop, and it's home to a huge variety of amazing natural downhill trails. So, to start off this adventure, we thought it would be rude not to sample a little of what Stile Cop has to offer. I think I say this every week, but yes, this is my first time here, and I'm riding all these trails you see today for the first time. I wouldn't normally pick a downhill trail of this calibre as my warm-up. As you'll see, it certainly gets a bit spicy. But as it turns out, this was the perfect trail to start the day. Even though I have Jim as my seasoned Stile Cop trail guide, I'm taking things a bit cautiously. After a few crashes at the start of the year, I've definitely learned to look before I leap. And when you're riding trail that has 2 skull and crossbones on its sign, that's probably a wise choice.
Too slow.
As you can see, you have to be on your game with this trail. It was certainly a good wake-up call. This is a really active and flowing trail. All the features are rollable, but they're definitely fun if you ride them with a bit more speed. Well, that is, until you come to the very last feature. Yes, the last feature on this line is the iconic Between the Trees jump. The landing is rather steep, so it's best to take it easy on your first run down.
Nice.
A truly epic trail. The first run was good. So good in fact, we just had to head back up to the top to explore one more. This is another fast and spicy trail. The top part is nice and flowing, and the lower section starts to get a bit more technical. You can't help but love a trail like this. It has a bit of everything from action to interesting features. It's a wild ride from top to bottom. You certainly pick up plenty of speed in the first few corners. In fact, I might have picked up a little bit too much speed. I don't want to be overshooting jumps this early in the day. Lucky for me, things slow down a bit as you get lower down. The loose, more technical sections are great for getting your brain going and getting you to start thinking about the best line choices. Fundamental for getting around sketchy sections. A skill I'll be using a lot later on. It's easy to see why I was blown away by this place. It has such a great offering of good quality trails, and we really haven't even scratched the surface here today. Once you're warmed up, there are some way more committing features to test your riding on, but we'll have to save those until another video. Because we're not planning on spending all day in the bike park, we have some other downhill trails to explore. Heading off into the forest, it wasn't long before I was completely lost. Luckily, Jim seems to know where he's heading. And it wasn't long before we were dropping into our first trail. This is a rough and chossy trail with a few surprises thrown into the mix. This is a fast and active line that likes to throw you around. Even with all the suspension I have today, I feel like I was riding a rodeo bull rather than a bike trail. Fast, active, and awesome. Not far down the trail, you come across a really fun drop made out of a fallen tree. The landing is pretty good, but watch out because it has a tight right turn at the end. Although the features on this trail aren't as crafted as the downhill lines at Stile Cop, these natural lines are way harder. Just because you can never be sure what the trail and features are going to be like down below, or what the recent weather conditions may have done to the trail. Because of the unknown trail conditions, I'm riding my full suspension Cube Stereo 150 today. This is a burly bike and should be able to handle anything the trails can throw at it. Of course, all these trails are a closely guarded secret, so I'm not showing exactly where they are, and I genuinely have no chance of finding them again on my own anyway, so your secret's safe with me, trail builders. But it is clear that people have worked hard planning, building and maintaining a lot of these lines. A heck of a lot of graft has gone into these trails, and it's been totally worth it in my opinion. The next trail Jim showed me quickly became one of my favourites. This one is the fastest and most interesting line that we rode today. It's littered with awesome jumps and amazing drops. Riding down this trail absolutely blind, it suddenly occurred to me that Jim might actually be trying to kill me. This was a super fast line, and in some places it's super sketchy. Especially as I had no idea where it goes. Most of the small jumps and drops were fun additions to the trail. You could happily hit them knowing that the landings were good, and there's nothing really to catch you out. But I did have to brake check at the top of this hill while I eyed up the next large drop. But it was awesome. It was definitely worth slowing down before it just to have a good look at the landing, but it's a superb drop and an amazing end to the trail. The next trail we came across was another absolute banger. The steep natural trails are definitely more in my wheelhouse than the faster jump trails. What really surprised me about today is the variation of trails that we came across. I'm a firm believer that riding lots of different kinds of trails will make you a better and more rounded rider. I also believe that you need to ride trails that you don't know. On our home trails, we know every bump and turn. I'm sure you could probably ride these with your eyes closed. So going out and getting lost every now and then is a great way to progress your riding and make everything so much more exciting. Whenever I ride trails like this in the woods, it always reminds me that I need to trim my bars down a bit. I like a wide bar, but when you're trying to navigate steep trails and dodging trees, having a slightly shorter bar might be a good idea. In total today, we went out exploring for about 4 hours. I genuinely couldn't count the number of trails we managed to ride, so of course I'm just showing you some of my favourites. I've ridden in these woods loads of times before and never even knew these trails existed until today. These secret trails absolutely blew my mind. But our riding isn't over just yet. Jim had one last steep trail up his sleeve, one that will put my riding and my nerve to the test. And he wasn't kidding. To call this steep is an understatement.
Yeah, I probably won't be able to get back up. I wish I could show you how steep these trails actually are in real life. They just look so flat on camera. But they're really not. So between here and there is a 6-foot drop. Like that's 6 foot down to there. Doesn't look it on camera. It looks like a nice, easy little roll, doesn't it? Nope.
So of course, we dropped in. I'm approaching this one very cautiously. There are no big features, just steep and technical trail. Certainly the steepest thing I've ever ridden. I don't really have a plan to get through it. I'm just going to trust my instincts and see what happens. And before I knew it, I was down the hardest part.
That is steeper than it looks.
But then, about here, I did something really stupid. I hit my pedal on a tree, which sent me a bit squiffy. Luckily, no harm was done.
Oh, I can't believe I did that. Gutted. Now I've got to get back on somehow.
But then, I found out the hardest part of riding on a steep trail isn't actually riding the trail, it's trying to get back on your bike on a steep section.
No! He's down.
Trust me, this is way harder than it should have been. Eventually, I did make it back on my bike, and I rode down with my tail between my legs. This was a truly epic day's riding, and I honestly cannot wait to do it again. We rode so many different trails today, and I'm gutted that I couldn't show you all of them in today's video. But make sure you subscribe to the channel to see more awesome adventures like this. So, thanks for watching today, and I'll see you next time.